This improved take on the top recharged T8 plug-in hybrid version of Volvo's XC60 mid-sized premium SUV combines turbocharging, supercharging and electrification for potentially astonishing efficiency returns, despite this Swedish crossover's huge power output. There's a significant price to pay for this technology, and you'll need to tailor your motoring life to suit what this car can offer, but if you can deal with these caveats, then this is a potentially very likeable package, especially in this improved form.
Quite a few brands have only recently jumped aboard the plug-in hybrid bandwagon, but Volvo has long planned for it. The company's current petrol and diesel cars are all based around a single 2-litre, 4-cylinder engine block, unveiled by Volvo's then R&D Chief Peter Mertens way back in 2011. It was a configuration fundamentally designed around the requirements for plug-in hybrid tech, and as a result, Volvo was quickly able to launch plug-in electrified versions of all its larger models, including in 2018 the XC60 mid-sized SUV we feature here. Since then, plug-in variants of rival Audi Q5, BMW X3 and Mercedes GLC SUVs have also hit the market. So in late 2021, Volvo upgraded this car's PHEV offering with a much larger battery, a more powerful rear electric motor, and the option of a more affordable T6 variant to sell alongside the top T8 model tested here. So, have these changes rejuvenated this XC60 recharge plug-in hybrid model's appeal? Well, you'll need the usual thorough car and driving road test to find out. The changes made to these PHEV derivatives in autumn 2021 represent the biggest update made to this second generation XC60. Drive battery capacity almost doubled, up from 11.6 to 18.8 kilowatt hours, which added around 20 miles to the EV drive range. Now EAER rated at up to 51 miles for the T6 and up to 49.7 miles for the T8 variant we're trying here. It's a useful increase, but it's still some way off class leadership. To give you some perspective on that, a rival Mercedes GLC 300e PHEV has a huge 31.2 kilowatt hour battery and goes up to 80 miles between charges. But that pricey Mercedes, like most other segment rivals, can't get near the power output of either recharge version of this Volvo. Rather unnecessarily, the Swedish brand has further increased this as part of the mid-term upgrade, enhancing the output of the rear electric motor from 87 to 145 horsepower, which means that even the T6 offers 350 horsepower, so 62 miles an hour from rest. It takes just 5.7 seconds. This top T8 version, meanwhile, is the most powerful Volvo yet produced, putting out 455 horsepower and enough to propel nearly 2.3 tons of Gothenburg real estate from rest to 62 miles an hour in just 4.9 seconds, more than half a second quicker than before. The battery pack for that rear electric motor is neatly packaged away in the transmission tunnel and is there to supplement the output of the 2-litre turbocharged and supercharged petrol engine that both these recharge variants share. There's also a 25 horsepower starter motor generator that pitches in from time to smooth any gaps in torque delivery between the two main power sources, which is the kind of storming performance you'd get in this segment from, say, a Porsche Cayenne SE hybrid, a car that costs around £20,000 more and is nothing like as efficient. That's assuming you select the most performance-orientated of the 5 driving settings that PHEV XC60 owners are offered. The power mode that sees both petrol and electric units permanently working together. Alternatively, there are 4 other drive choices for recharge models: a hybrid setting that sees the 2 engines cutting in and out as necessary, a constant all-wheel drive mode that gives you permanent 4x4 traction, plus a pure electric setting that only uses the battery power. There's also a save option so that on a longer trip you can hold that charge until you get to the city driving you might have to do at the end of the journey. In passing, we'll also mention that if for some unfathomable reason you want the T8 version of this car to go even faster, there's an optional Polestar pack which replaces the power setting with a Polestar engineered mode. This boosts engine output by 14 horsepower while quickening gear shift timings and throttle response. The revised version of this PHEV Volvo hasn't visually changed that much. The Swedish brand has slightly tweaked the styling of the front grille and the front bumpers and added fresh exterior colours and wheel options, and that's about it. This recharge plug-in hybrid model looks pretty much identical to the more conventional B5 mild hybrid petrol variant lower down the range. The eagle-eyed will spot special badging and an extra charging flap, but that's about it. At first glance, with this second generation XC60, much seems similar to its larger XC90 showroom stablemate. Move to the side though, and the differences between the two SUVs become more obvious. Though this car is only 9mm narrower than its bigger stablemate, dimensions that see it 261mm shorter and 118mm lower make it clearly a more compact and sportier proposition. The muscular-looking door creases, extended Thor's hammer headlights and revised grille give this model a sportier look. There's a longer bonnet than a rival Audi Q5 and a longer roofline too. As you'd expect, there are plenty of cabin resemblances to the XC90, especially when it comes to the dashboard, seats and upholstery, plus the same 9-inch touchscreen and 12.3-inch digital dial displays feature. At the wheel, you sit lower than you would in an XC90, and key to the changes made with this revised model is the introduction of Volvo's latest Android-powered infotainment system with Google apps and services built in. This intuitive next-generation infotainment system offers customers unprecedented personalisation and unparalleled connectivity. This is further enhanced through the introduction of a brand new digital services package, the centrepiece of which is access to Google apps and services which offer hands-free help with Google Assistant, best-in-class navigation through Google Maps, and a broad offer of native in-car apps via Google Play. In the back, two adults should be very comfortable, and is also a really unique touch, concealed storage compartments under the rear seat bases, which are just the right size to store electronic devices like a tablet out of sight. Out back, there's a 468-litre boot, down from 483 in the conventional model, extendable to 1,395 litres once you fold down the rear bench. That's down from 1,410 litres. You'll have expected there to be a price to pay to add in sophisticated plug-in tech to the XC60, but you might not have expected it to take the price of this Volvo right up into the £68,000 bracket. But that's the reality here. For the 455 horsepower T8 version of this recharge model, you have to have top ultra trim, hence the price. The lesser 350 horsepower T6 recharge model comes with lesser core and plus trims, costing from around £56,000. As standard, all XC60 recharge models come with leather-faced upholstery, LED headlights with active high beam, 2-zone climate control with a clean zone air filtration system, heated front seats, a powered tailgate and alloy wheels of at least 18 inches in size. Volvo's Android-based infotainment system is also standard. This brings a 9-inch portrait-style touchscreen, satellite navigation and an intuitive voice activation system. It also provides access to the internet and a range of cloud-based apps such as Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher and Yelp. Volvo's city safety system is fitted to every XC60, This includes automatic emergency braking with pedestrian, cyclist and large animal detection, and the world-first application of steer assist. This feature helps to avoid or limit the severity of collisions at low speeds by assisting with the steering in an emergency, such as when swerving to miss an obstacle. There's also pilot assist, Volvo's innovative semi-autonomous drive feature. This assists with the steering at up to 80 miles an hour and takes care of the acceleration and braking required to keep the car within lane markings and at the desired cruising speed or distance from any vehicle in front. Surprisingly, Volvo chose to base the PHEV versions of this car around a version of this engine further embellished by supercharging. Never usually a helpful thing for efficiency. In the T6 and T8 recharge models though, it's aided by a 145 horsepower rear electric motor powered by a now larger 18.8 kilowatt-hour battery, which, as we told you in our driving section, allows for an EAER rated all-electric range of up to 51 miles for the T6 and up to 49.7 miles for the T8 variant we're trying here. Taking that into account delivers the usual difficult-to-replicate set of PHEV stats, up to 313.4 mpg on the combined cycle, with up to 22 grams per kilometre of CO2 for the T6, and up to 282.1 mpg and up to 23 grams per kilometre of CO2 for this T8. Theoretically then, you could use an XC60 T6 or T8 every day without ever visiting a fuel station unless you needed to undertake a longer trip. That's assuming, of course, that you keep the lithium-ion battery fully charged. To compensate for the fact that the battery's larger, Volvo's upped charging speed from 3.7 kilowatts to 6.4 kilowatts, which has quickened things considerably. A 7-metre Type 2 charging cable is provided, and a 3-phase AC garage wall box will be able to replenish the battery completely in around 3 hours. With a single-phase AC supply, you're looking at about 5 hours. Connecting to a normal domestic 3-pin 10-amp supply will take about 7 hours. We should also mention that it's possible to replenish the battery of your PHEV XC60 on the move via a charge option you'll find in the battery usage section of the centre screen. This forces energy into the battery on the move, but strains the engine to do it, increasing fuel consumption. Honestly, we wouldn't bother using it unless you absolutely have to. And as we told you in our driving section, the same menu gives you the option to hold the battery's charge for use later in your journey, say for town driving at the end of a long trip. Ultimately, to justify this Recharge XC60 model's price premium, you really have to try and plug it in at every opportunity. Otherwise, you'll simply find yourself running a heavy petrol-powered SUV and frequently replenishing the 71-litre fuel tank. If on the move you want to prioritise all-electric progress, you can select a pure driving mode that prioritises electric-only operation and would be useful in an urban environment. In everyday use though, most T6 and T8 owners will be driving in the hybrid mode that the car's powertrain automatically defaults to, a setting in which the vehicle will automatically alternate between petrol and electric power. While we can't imagine any XC60 PHEV owner ever actually achieving the brand's officially quoted returns, the important thing is that the government believes them, so business users will be benefiting kind rated at just 8% for both T6 and T8 models, down from the 37% rating applied to the B5 variant. Road tax for the PHEV versions is £155 after the first year, but because this car costs over £40,000 to buy, you'll have to pay a £355 surcharge per year for the next 5 years, which means a Recharge XC60 will cost £510 a year to tax in years 2 to 6. The sort of sensible buyer likely to be considering an XC60 is, we think, likely to be sorely tempted by this plug-in hybrid version, especially in this improved bigger battery facelifted form. The combination of low taxation and the potential for virtually fuel-free commuting mileage is, as with any model of this type, a tempting one. And when you match it to this car's class-leading safety standards and cool Scandinavian vibe, the resulting package offers a refreshing alternative to rival German-branded SUVs. But the asking figures are substantial, and in an era where government assistance is absent, you'd have to be very sold on the plug-in remit here to opt for this Recharge model. After all, if you merely want your premium luxury mid-sized SUV to be in some way electrified, Volvo offers a very acceptable B5 mild hybrid petrol version of this car lower down the range. We think that B5 variant might be a better pick for most customers, but if you have to have technological superiority in your XC60, only the Recharge variants offer it.